Well, hello everyone and welcome. This is Rebecca Dallin. I'm with the City of Oklahoma City Stormwater Quality and COSWA, the Central Oklahoma Stormwater Alliance. I would like to officially welcome everyone to this special training event. Everyone online will receive a certificate of attendance for today's session, so please make sure that you share your name in chat if your user ID doesn't reflect your entire full name. And if for some reason I don't have your email address, if you don't hear from me in the next day or two, feel free to email me if you have any questions about the certificate of attendance or didn't receive one. And I have put my email address into chat. Please be sure to keep yourselves muted during the presentation. If you have any questions, you can type those into chat. Our guest speaker today is Jeff King from American Excelsior. Mr. King has been employed by American Excelsior Company as a territory manager for the Earth Science Division in Arlington, Texas since 2008. He has been involved in the planning and execution of numerous construction projects through the years. These projects include pipeline right-of-way, frac tank builds, oil rig drill pads, residential, commercial, highway, and linear utility projects. Mr. King holds a Certified Professional in Erosion and Sediment Control Certification, or CPESC, from EnviroCert International, and is currently serving as the president of the South Central chapter of the International Erosion Control Association, also called SCIECA. And both the SCIECA and American Excelsior are COSWA affiliates. So thank you, Jeff, for being willing to share your information with us today, and please take it away.
Thank you, Rebecca. I appreciate y'all giving me the opportunity to hop on and speak with you. Again, my name is Jeff King. All of my contact information is here on the first slide, so if y'all have any questions after the fact, feel free to reach out to me. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started. So just a little bit of background. Oh, I need to mute this. Hang on 1 second. I'm getting feedback. Sorry. Just a little bit of background. Dirty water and mud washing out into the streets. These are just a couple of the things off of construction sites that can pose, a nuisance and a problem. They can be a difficult challenge to control, but, ignoring it is just not really an option. Over And, that would be an expensive cleanup too, might I add. But, these things are not an option to ignore those. So the traditional option that we typically see for trying to control sediment off of residential and commercial job sites is one of the options is silt fence. Unfortunately, we've all been out in the field. We've all seen this type of install or maintenance. So this is not really an effective BMP for controlling your sediment. Here you've got more sediment-laden water. Again, another prime example of, this BMP not being maintained, therefore it can't really be effective. If you look over here, you can see sediment out here in the street, about to run into the storm drain. You've got more on top of it. So one more event, and this is all going in here and all going into that drain. So you've seen the traditional option. Now let me show you the innovative option. Kerlex silt trap. There we go. Just to give you an idea of what a job site looks like with Kerlex silt trap, and I'll go ahead and say this, especially around the Oklahoma City area, and starting to be more so around the Tulsa area, y'all are likely starting to see more and more of this application. We've been working with our partners to get that out into the market, and as you've got some of the home builders, some of the larger nationwide home builders moving into the area, such as like D.R. Horton, they're very familiar with the application and they like the product. So you're going to start seeing that a whole lot more. So silt trap is a low profile, high performance product. It's the green color is very aesthetically pleasing, and it gives you that almost instant finished look to your development, but it also keeps that soil out of the road. And it'll help you avoid fines by just staying in compliance and actually saves you money compared to some of the traditional. We do use a green pigment. It does not have dye because unfortunately dye can become moldy. And so, yeah, we use a food grade pigment here. And in order for it to be considered silt trap, it has got to be green. Just a quick little, CAD detail of what an installation looks like. So you can use either a 4-foot, which is typically what people use, or some people prefer an 8-foot buffer strip here. This is going to be an 8-foot buffer strip here, and you can see you got staples about every 12 inches at the roll ends. You've got a overlap of, yeah.
We can't see what you're looking at. All we can see is your Teams window right now.
What? Okay. Sorry about that. What's going on here? I guess my share stopped. Thank you for pointing that out.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry about that. Can you see that now?
Yes, thank you. That was silly.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Sorry about that. All right. Can you guys still see it? We're good?
Yeah, we're good. Thank you.
Oh, okay. So here's that CAD detail. So you can see the staples about every 12 inches at the end of the roll. It's butted up against the curb here, and then you've got about a 2 to 4 inch overlap at the end of the roll. Pretty quick install time just to put these staples down. Give you a quick little video of a project we had out here in just North Texas.
And we can't hear the audio.
Oh, I didn't include that, did I? Can I do that in the middle, or do I have to stop sharing?
No, you'll have to stop. You'll have to stop sharing and then share again to turn that toggle on.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how important the audio is. It's just some cheesy elevator music.
Well,
unless y'all want it.
Then.
Yeah, unless you want it. Yeah, so the nice thing is you don't need to remove it. Unlike silt fence, it is biodegradable or degradable. So what makes it work is because it's unique. It's a naturally seed-free aspen wood fiber. It will absorb your energy, and aspen wood fibers, when they get wet, they're going to puff up and expand, and then they'll contract when they're dry. And then they dig into the soil, and they give you that Velcro effect to your soil, which forms an intimate bond with it. The expanded Kerlex fiber gives you that 3D matrix and a high Manning's N or a higher Manning's N than a lot of the other alternatives. And just to give you a, before I let this video play, so this is a comparison of our straw fibers, which we are a straw manufacturer as well, and our Excelsior fibers over track voids, which are some of the more common soil irregularities you're going to find on a job site when they get wet. And what you're going to see is the Kerlex, when it gets wet, it's going to puff up and expand and go down into the track void. So it's filling that void. And on the left, you see the straw. It doesn't really do anything because, see, the straw fibers are flat and hollow. They're a non-engineered fiber compared to the Kerlex wood fiber, which is engineered. We cut that fiber to a specific length for a specific purpose, and we put the curls and the barbs in there. This example here, this is an 8-foot, so they chose to use the 8-foot, but you can see they had rain event here, and the sediment started to run off, but because of the roughness of the Kerlex wood fiber, it stopped your sediment right there in the about a third of the way into the blanket, which is great because what that's going to do is that's going to minimize expensive callbacks and having to have your contractors come out and sweep the street. Another example, show you a frontward view. You can see they had a rain event here on this project. You can see the rills up here up onto the to the pad, and then the sediment started to run through, but because of the roughness of the Curlex, it was able to catch the sediment about halfway through the blanket, and you can see down here that the gutter is clean. These fibers will filter out contaminants, anything from sediment to heavy metals. It does filter out hydrocarbons, and it is a pre-approved oil sorbent with the EPA. So this video is on our YouTube channel. We actually did this video around the time of the BP oil spill down in the Gulf of Mexico. This was featured on a few of the major news networks at the time to show what the Curlex wood fiber can do. Go ahead and play that again. So you can see he pours the oil in there and then dips the Curlex wood fiber in there. And so you're not going to get that kind of performance out of some of the other natural fiber types that you see typically used in these blankets, including our straw or our straw coconut or our coconut blankets. The Curlex wood fiber is the only one that's going to be able to do that. So just a little bit of background. We do have our own large-scale testing facility up in Rice Lake, Wisconsin. We test to ASTM standards. You can see we do rainfall analysis and channel analysis. You can see the risers here on the left. And then here on the right, you can see where part of the way up, they did not install any kind of B&P blanket or anything. And then on the bottom, they installed the Curlex, and then they ran those sprinklers off the risers, and you started to get some runoff, but you can see up to 83% of that soil was retained as compared to where the bare soil was. So there are a few different vegetation options with the silt trap buffer strip. Just a little bit of background here in this photo. This was actually a demo site where the project owner wanted to see what this would look like with silt trap and silt fence, and then just silt trap only. Normally it would be one or the other. You wouldn't want to really use both. That would be overkill. Anyway, so as far as like the vegetation options, you can actually sod over the top of it. You can seed prior to, or you can just do like they did here over here on the right and just let whatever natural vegetation grow up through it. One of the benefits of using this type of product in this application is you can actually leave it. It's degradable, so it's going to be safe. Unfortunately, with silt trap, or I'm sorry, with silt fence, that has to be removed after the project is completed. So where does that go? That's going to go and take up space in a local landfill. As mentioned earlier, it is a lower profile device, so your contractors are going to be able to get on and off the job site easy. You can see here they were able to drive over it, and it worked out just fine. In case there's any kind of issues, really all you have to do is you can cut the blanket and then splice new blanket in together, and it's really no problem. So, like I said, you can drive over the top of this. I wouldn't do donuts on it, but you can still drive over the top of it, and it shouldn't be an issue, because we've all been to sites where you can see where they just completely, like, it seems like they almost drove over the silt fence, just drove right over the top of it. That's not really going to be a major issue here with this type of product. We've got decades of proven success with this product. We've been doing this application in Dallas-Fort Worth for over 20 years and the surrounding suburbs. How it started was, I'm second generation with our company, so my dad actually, Daryl Childers, was working with the city of McKinney and Walmart to try to find an alternative for silt fence, and they came up with using this as a 4-foot buffer strip, and so this product has really started to explode, or really started to explode back then, and it's starting to take off in other areas as well, as we're getting more and more people comfortable with seeing it and more people trying it. Just some other areas to button up. Obviously, the EPA's got some pretty stringent water quality requirements. People such as yourselves are starting to enforce it a lot more. The Curlex blankets really help, meet that regulatory compliance and help filter out the sediment from your runoff before it hits your drains and out in your streets. I might actually be going a little too fast here, Rebecca. I'm sorry. But just some Curlex silt trap job site photos.
Hey, Jeff, while you're going through those photos, we had one question in chat asking how long does it take for that product to degrade?
It's going to be 18 to 24 months. And that's a great question. And I'm glad you asked that, because one other thing I would like to mention too, it might not be as big of a deal in Oklahoma yet, but it is starting to be elsewhere, where the plastic for the netting is starting to become an issue. So I wanted to point out that we do have the option to have a fully biodegradable silt trap blanket used. So we've got jute net products as well. So any of our temporary blankets that have plastic netting that comes standard that way, you do have the alternative to add a jute net product if that's going to be an issue for you. But yeah, as far as like the overall degrading out of just the normal product, it's like 18 to 24 months, depending on whether you go with like a single net or a double net product. Because typically for this application, it's a single net. So you'll have your netting on top, you'll have your fiber matrix, and then you'll have your stitching that goes through it that holds the blanket together, and that's it. And really the only difference between that and the double net is the extra net on the bottom. The amount of fiber per square yard and those things, that all stays the same. And in case anybody was wondering, the amount of fiber that you're going to see in this particular blanket is going to be 0.73 pounds per square yard. What we have seen is we've seen some other people that are using straw blankets in that application. They don't quite work the same, and there's a few big differences. One, the fiber is not an engineered fiber. But number two, the amount of fiber per square yard is roughly half a pound. So with a product like this, you're going to be able to, with the wood fiber blanket, you're going to be able to get more pounds of fiber per square yard. Are there any other questions?
I don't see any in chat yet, but if anyone would like to ask Jeff any questions, feel free to type those into chat and we'll make sure we get those answered.
Yeah, so I took this photo probably about 3 months ago or so. It's actually my screensaver on my laptop. This is out in Little Elm, Texas. I mean, just look at this. You can see it's not completely flat like the previous photo was, but you can see that we had a rain event, and then the sediment started to run down the blanket. It actually got all the way down to the bottom of the blanket, but it didn't go any further. You can see a completely clean sidewalk here.
Do you remember
how much?
I'm sorry.
What's that? Go ahead.
Do you remember how much rain was received during that rain event?
Not that particular one, no. But just like Oklahoma, we either go from no rain at all to a gully watcher. So I'm thinking that was a pretty significant rain. Yeah, I just happened to be driving by and I saw this, and I had to stop and get a couple quick photos, but it's one of my favorite photos. And just some other applications for the product. These are going to be 8 foot rolls, but you can put these around your retention ponds. This one here was this was out on an oil rig pad. Just a slope, looks like inside of city limits. You can use that product. You can use the Curlex in your lower flow channels, as you can see on your left. But in your higher flow ones, you'll want to line the backside here and then line the sides with the Curlex. And then right down the middle of the channel, you can put a synthetic TRM. So I mentioned that we had our lab earlier, but some of the other resources that we do have, our online technical support. We have our Erosion Works software, which is free. You can do channel or slopes. You can enter in anything from like your soil type, what type, how long you want the product to last. You can enter in whether you want biodegradable option, those kind of things. And then it'll, based on the data that you put in for your project, it'll then give you a good, better, best. It'll tell you how much soil you're expected to lose, those kind of things. It even has a materials estimator. So based on the dimensions that you put in, it'll tell you how much product you need, how many staples, those kind of things. And again, we want to be a resource for you. We also work through different industry organizations, to help promote a diverse mix of BMPs. We work through the Erosion Control Technology Council. So what that is a collection of manufacturers for hydraulic molds, for rolled erosion control blankets, those kind of things. And they really get together and set the standards for the industry for like quality assurance, and they help work as a liaison for government entities, those kind of things. And then the International Erosion Control Association, which, as Rebecca mentioned earlier, I'm president of the South Central chapter that covers Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Louisiana. And then organizations such as yourself, COSWA. We're starting to try to work with some of the other organizations as well. And Rebecca, I probably sped through that. I apologize for going too fast.
All right, well, if anyone wants to unmute and chat with Jeff, feel free to go ahead. I don't see any other questions in chat at this time. I did mention in chat, and I can mention it aloud to those of you who aren't looking at chat, we will post a recording of this session soon on our COSWA YouTube channel. So I put the link to that into chat. If you're not familiar with that, you can also just look for the Central Oklahoma Stormwater Alliance on YouTube, and you should be able to find our channel there. Did anyone want to unmute and visit with Jeff about this? I don't see anybody unmuted just yet. But Wayne asks, will you be at the SCIECA conference in San Marcos? I believe that's in October. I'm sure you're muted, Jeff.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there you are. No, just kidding. Just kidding. You're fine.
Yes, I definitely will be there. We're excited to attend the conference down there. That's I checked out that venue back in January after getting to visit with Adam, who's I believe he's Assistant Public Works Director for San Marcos. They've been big supporters of the chapter, and so we wanted to check it out down there and see, and we fell in love with the venue, and so yeah, I'm very excited to be in San Marcos.
Oh, go ahead.
Quick question, and I may have missed it on your math figuring out there on that last slide, but does this have any specific like capacity for holding a certain amount of sediment, or like if it's on a hillside of some sort behind a curb, would you suggest using it in conjunction with silt fence to still allow like some piling of sediment, or just like a certain width if we were to, this would be used like on its own?
Well, a lot of that's determined by the city. So, like, say Tom Tolbert over in Broken Arrow, he's always been in love with the 8-foot buffer strips, even though, like I mentioned earlier, because I guess he feels like it'll trap more sediment. As far as the actual yield that it does, let me see if I can find the document. I'd be happy to put that in chat if I can find that. Or I can always get that to Rebecca, and she can get that out to you as far as the specifics of it, if you like. But typically, I mean, that product, you're not really using it with as I mentioned in the presentation, you use that usually on its own because you don't have to use the sediment, or I mean the silt fence. So, but as far as like when a lot of it's just kind of an eyeball test, right? Like you can look at it and see, it's like, okay, well, we need to clean up this little section of it or whatever. And you can either try to brush it out, or you can just splice it and put a clean part in it if you want.
Right. Yeah, it does seem to work pretty well. I mean, we've seen it in areas around Edmond where it's a little bit flatter on the back of curb, and just kind of trying to hold some sediment in place on hillsides or what have you before final stabilization's done. But just curious on that capacity. So if you do find it, that'd be great.
Yeah, let me look. We have a little bit of time, don't we, Rebecca?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, let me see what
And for those of you that have access to chat, I did post that San Marcos conference link to that into chat. So if you're interested in looking at that, feel free to check that out. We sent out an email to our COSWA members. We're still working on getting COSWA's membership to IECA, but as soon as we are members, the SC IECA has offered to help subsidize any individual memberships from one of our COSWA members. So if you guys are interested in joining the IECA as an individual through your municipality, just email me and I'll be happy to help coordinate that. We don't have a full process yet for how what that'll look like and how that'll work exactly, since it's kind of a new and innovative thing, and they've not offered that to anyone before, as far as I know. So we're kind of fortunate, and thank you, Jeff, and the SCIECA board for approving that. So that's kind of cool. And it looks like Jeff posted a link to that resource document. So Tyler, make sure you click on that too.
Yeah, and again, you can call me and we can discuss offline as well. But as far as like the IECA thing and COSWA, we're very excited to have y'all join. We're excited about Oklahoma. Oklahoma is a priority for us as far as our chapter goes. I have noticed for the last probably 5 years, just the appetite for compliance and, just this type of work has increased, and it's pretty exciting. I mean, I've covered Oklahoma for 15 years, and you guys have gone from straw bales to basically a lot of other cool stuff that works. So, it's pretty exciting. And so from a chapter standpoint, yes, we are definitely happy to have y'all on. And yeah, please do just coordinate that through Rebecca if you guys do decide to join. We are trying to offer, if I can talk about this, monthly, even though we're going to have to punt on July, but monthly online presentations for just to be a resource for our members, just like you guys do.
Yeah, and I noticed that one of them must have been the June one, that EnviroCert actually promoted that as well.
Yeah, so what's happening, and I I don't know if, maybe you guys might want to look into this, but EnviroCert, in order to recognize PDHs, you have to, as a presenter, get your presentation pre-approved with those guys and gals. So we've started going through that process. I just got word that our conference is approved through all the content that's going to be provided there, and which we're actually trying to add a track, or we have a track, if I remember correctly, that is centered around MS Force. So yeah. So we got that approved with EnviroCert.
That's great. And if you're not already an IECA member, if you guys do join, you will get a discounted membership or discounted registration for that conference in San Marcos.
That is correct. And also, I'm going to go ahead and mention, I've talked to both you and Derek about this. For 2025, we're looking at bringing our yearly conference, our annual conference, to Oklahoma. We don't know what side yet, whether it's Tulsa or Oklahoma City, but it's definitely going to be one of the two. So, we're very excited about the opportunity to work with y'all, and maybe do something cool there.
Awesome. Well, you've gotten lots of compliments in chat. I don't know if you're peeking at that, Jeff, but.
Oh, no. Yeah, let me look. That's awesome. Thank you guys for attending. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, unless there's any other questions, Jeff, if you just hang out for a few minutes while we go ahead and close up. If anyone has any questions, feel free to get those to Jeff. We've posted his contact information into chat. Of course, you can always reach out to me as well. Again, if you don't get a certificate of attendance in the next day or two, please reach out to me via email, and I'll make sure I get that to you. And thanks again, Jeff. Great job. Love all the products. It's very interesting.
Thank you.
So that will conclude today's session. And again, if anyone wants to stick around for a little bit and chat with Jeff, feel free to. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. Thanks again for everyone who attended.